I wasn't just left off a guest list. I was erased from my own brother's wedding. When the message popped up on my phone, "Hey, guest list finalized, had to make some tough cuts. Hope you understand. Love you." My heart stopped. Tough cuts. I wasn't some distant cousin. I was his sister. I called my mother demanding an explanation. She sighed, using that same condescending tone she always did when she wanted me to feel childish. "Oh, honey, it's just a wedding. Don't make a big deal out of this. Just a wedding. Just my brother's life. Just my family deciding I didn't matter." That was the mother end. Something inside me broke. If they didn't want me there, fine. I wouldn't be. Instead, I booked myself a ticket to paradise, because if I was going to be excluded, I'd rather be excluded on a beach with a drink in my hand. The night I got that message, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, every memory of my brother Ethan crashing through my head like a storm. I thought of the time I stayed up all night to help him finish a college project typing, while he dictated because he'd broken his wrist. I thought of the time I covered part of his rent, when he was between jobs quietly slipping him the money so he wouldn't feel embarrassed. When his fiancée Chloe left him once in college, who sat on the porch with him until sunrise reminding him he'd be okay. Me, always me. And now apparently I wasn't even worth a chair at his wedding. I called Mother again that evening, hoping maybe she'd had time to think, to realize how outrageous it was. She picked up on the second ring, her voice chipper, as if nothing had happened. "Ava, sweetheart, you're still upset." Still upset. "Mother, I'm his sister. How am I not invited?" She sighed, that long theatrical exhale that meant she was done listening. They had to keep the guest list small. Weddings are expensive. I clenched my jaw. Small. I just saw Chloe's Instagram story. 150 people. I guess I didn't make the cut. Mother clicked her tongue. "Don't be dramatic. It's one day. You'll survive." That was the last straw. I hung up before she could say anything else. For years, I'd let them minimize me, sweep my feelings under the rug, expect me to be the understanding one. But this was different. It wasn't just oversight, it was erasure. I grabbed my laptop and opened a new tab, hands shaking with a mix of fury and adrenaline. Flights to anywhere warm, anywhere far away. Within minutes, I was scrolling through pictures of turquoise water, white sand, palm trees swaying like they were calling my name. I'd always told myself a 5-star resort was too indulgent, too expensive. But as I looked at those photos, something in me hardened. Why not me? Why not now? If Ethan and Mother thought I'd sit at home nursing my wounds while they toasted champagne without me, they had another thing coming. I wasn't just going to disappear, I was going to thrive. I was going to live louder, brighter, freer than ever before. With one decisive click, I booked an all-inclusive suite in the Caribbean. First-class ticket, ocean view, private balcony. My heart pounded as the confirmation email appeared. I leaned back, a slow smile spreading across my face. They didn't want me at their perfect wedding. Fine, I'd have my own celebration, one where I was the guest of honor. The next morning, I woke up with a fire in my chest. For once, it wasn't dread. It was determination. I opened my closet, pulled out my old suitcase, and dropped it on the floor. The sound of the zipper felt like thunder in my quiet apartment. This wasn't just packing clothes, this was packing a statement. I tossed in swimsuits I'd barely worn, sundresses that had been hanging untouched for years, and sandals I'd bought but never had the right occasion to use. Well, this was the occasion. Every item I packed was a silent rebellion against the role my family had cast me in: quiet, dependable Ava who stayed in the background while everyone else lived center stage. As I folded my clothes, my phone buzzed on the nightstand. Another text from Mother. "Don't sulk, honey. It's just a wedding. We'll celebrate something else together soon." I stared at the screen, then laughed out loud. Celebrate what? My eraser. My absence. I didn't even bother replying. Instead, I snapped a photo of my open suitcase, colorful dresses spilling out, and posted it to my story with the caption, "New adventure loading." Within minutes, the reactions rolled in. My cousin Jenna sent a string of fire emojis. My college friend Rachel messaged, "Where are you going?" Even my coworker dropped a "yes, treat yourself." But the most satisfying ping came half an hour later. Ethan had viewed my story. No message, no call, just seen. That tiny notification felt like a spark of victory. He knew I wasn't sitting around sulking like they probably expected. By noon, I was scrolling through resort photos again, double-checking my choice. Infinity pool check. Spa treatments included absolutely. Private balcony with an ocean view, yes please. For the first time in years, I wasn't thinking about what I should do for others. I was thinking about what I wanted. Later that day, I dragged my suitcase out to the living room, zipped it shut, and perched on top of it with a glass of wine in hand. I thought about how my family would be buzzing around planning flower arrangements and seating charts, probably not even noticing my absence yet, but soon they would. Because I wasn't just taking a vacation, I was rewriting the story. I poured myself another glass and whispered out loud as if sealing a promise. "Ava, you're done," being the afterthought. The clink of my glass echoed in the empty room. It felt like the first toast I'd ever made to myself. 2 days later, I rolled my suitcase through the airport, my heart pounding with a mix of nerves and thrill. I'd flown plenty of times before, but never like this. First class. Just the thought made me grin. As I walked down the jet bridge and turned left instead of right, it felt symbolic, like I was finally stepping into a version of my life I'd been denied for too long. The seat was wide, the leather smooth with more legroom than I knew what to do with. A flight attendant greeted me with a glass of champagne before I'd even buckled in. I held it up, letting the bubbles fizz against my lips. "To me," I whispered. Halfway through the flight, I pulled out my phone and snapped a picture. Legs stretched out, glass in hand clouds below me. Caption, "Guess I didn't make the wedding guest list, but I think I'll survive." The reactions came almost instantly. My cousin Jenna sent a row of laughing emojis. Aunt Martha replied, "Good for you, girl." Even a friend I hadn't talked to in years commented, "Living the dream." Then came the one I'd been waiting for. "Mother Ava, where are you? Are you seriously skipping your brother's wedding over this don't be petty?" Petty. The word nearly made me spit out my champagne. Petty was spending years cleaning up after my brother's mistakes, only to be cast aside like I didn't exist. Petty was pretending guest list cuts were more important than family. No, what I was doing wasn't petty. It was powerful. I didn't reply. Instead, I snapped another photo, this time of the clouds glowing pink as the sun set with my hand holding up the glass in the frame. Caption, "Perspective." By the time the plane landed, my inbox was flooded. Friends were cheering me on. Relatives were half scandalized, half impressed, and I knew without even checking that Ethan had seen it too. As I walked off the plane into the humid Caribbean air, a warm breeze wrapped around me like an embrace I'd been waiting for all my life. A driver held a sign with my name, waiting to whisk me away in a black SUV, stocked with chilled towels and bottled water. For once, I wasn't the backup plan. I wasn't the fixer. I wasn't the forgotten sister. Here I was the priority. I leaned back in the cool leather seat of the car, closed my eyes, and let the ocean scent wash over me. The wedding could go on without me. I was exactly where I was supposed to be. The resort was everything the photos had promised, and more. Towering palm trees framed the open-air lobby. The marble floors glistened under the sunlight, and a smiling attendant handed me a cocktail before I even checked in. My suite had floor-to-ceiling windows with a balcony that seemed to spill directly into the turquoise ocean. That first evening, I threw open the balcony doors, let the salt breeze roll through the room, and thought, "This is paradise." I ordered room service fluffy pancakes and fresh fruit even though it was dinner time, because why not? I lounged on the balcony in a robe sipping coffee that tasted better than any I'd ever had at home. For once, the only sound I heard was the ocean, not my phone buzzing with family demands. The next morning, I settled into a sunbed by the infinity pool, a martini in hand. I snapped a photo of the shimmering water, posted it with the caption, "When one door closes, another one opens, preferably to a beachside suite with unlimited margaritas." The comments poured in. Friends teased me about showing off. Cousins sent laughing emojis. Jenna, my favorite cousin, wrote, "Take me with you next time." I was still smirking at her message when my phone buzzed again. This time the screen lit up with names that made me pause. Mother Ethan, Uncle Rob, even Nana. At first I ignored it. Let them stew. They'd made their choice. I was making mine, but then the calls stacked up one after another until my phone was practically vibrating off the lounge chair. Finally, curiosity got the better of me. I opened a text from my cousin Logan. "Dude, you are not going to believe what just happened." I frowned, sat up, and scrolled through the flood of messages. "Mother, call me. Emergency. Ethan, Ava, please pick up. I need you." Logan again, the wedding. It's a disaster. My lips curled into a slow, involuntary smirk. I set my martini down, tapped Logan's message, and typed back, "What do you mean?" The reply came within seconds. He left. The groom straight up walked out. I blinked. Lefty, as in left the reception. Logan, full meltdown. He and Chloe had a huge fight, and then he just walked out of the venue. Everyone's freaking out. Uncle Rob and Father are screaming at each other about family reputation. Nana's crying. The bar shut down early. It's chaos. I leaned back against the chair, laughter bubbling up in my chest until it spilled out loud enough to make the woman on the next lounger glance my way. I didn't care. I couldn't stop laughing. Ethan had cut me out of his wedding, convinced I wasn't important enough to be there. And now, when everything collapsed, I was suddenly the one they were all running to. Another message from Mother flashed across my screen. "Ava, answer your phone right now. This family needs you." For years, those words would have made me drop everything. Leave work, cancel plans, rush to clean up whatever fire my family had started. But this time, I just stared at the screen, then set the phone face down on the table. I lifted my martini again, held it up to the sun, and whispered to Karma. Because while my family spiraled into chaos, I was in paradise. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't the one scrambling to fix it. By the time I returned to my suite that evening, the missed calls had doubled. My phone screen was a wall of desperation. Mother Ethan, Aunt Lisa, even Chloe. I poured myself a glass of wine from the mini bar curled up on the balcony chair and finally hit play on one of the voicemails. Mother's voice cracked through the speaker, frantic. "Ava, I don't know what you think you're doing, but this is not the time for one of your tantrums. Your brother's wedding is falling apart and he needs you. This family needs to stick together right now." I rolled my eyes so hard it almost hurt. Tantrum. She still couldn't call it what it was, me standing up for myself. The next voicemail was Chloe's. Her voice was shaky, blotchy from crying. "Ava, I know we haven't always been close, but please, please, I need your help. Ethan's losing it. Everyone's fighting. You're the only one who can calm him down. I'm begging you." I actually snorted. Chloe, who had smiled politely while excluding me from her perfect guest list, was now begging for my presence like I was some kind of crisis therapist. Another voicemail chimed in, this one from Logan, whispering like he was hiding in a closet. "Dude, Mother, and Aunt Lisa are already planning to show up at your apartment when you get back. Just a heads up. Also, Grandma keeps saying the wedding was cursed because you weren't there. It's honestly hilarious." I had to pause the message because I was laughing too hard. The irony was almost poetic. When I had wanted to be part of the wedding, I was told I wasn't essential. Now suddenly, I was the glue holding the family together. I leaned back, sipped my wine, and finally tapped out a reply to Chloe's desperate text. "Sorry, I'm a little busy enjoying my overreaction. Hope the wedding was fun." Then with one swift motion, I blocked her number. And while I was at it, I blocked Mother's too. Logan, just in case he got recruited for their guilt trip campaign. Silence fell over my phone like a curtain. And for the first time in years, it felt blissful. I slipped my phone onto Do Not Disturb padded across the cool tile floor and rang room service for dessert. 10 minutes later, I was on the balcony again with a plate of molten chocolate cake and another glass of wine, watching the moonlight shimmer on the ocean. As I took the first bite, rich and warm, I thought about the chaos unraveling back home. Chloe probably sobbing into her ruined makeup, Ethan sulking furious that he couldn't control the narrative, Mother pacing, blaming me for everything, but me, I wasn't in the middle of it. For once, I wasn't their fixer. I raised my fork like a toast and whispered to freedom, and oh, it tasted sweet. By midnight, I was soaking in the enormous bathtub lavender salts, perfuming the steam, a flute of champagne in hand. My phone buzzed on the counter, lighting up with another flurry of calls. I didn't even bother to look. Let them panic. Let them scramble. For once, I was untouchable. The next morning, I woke to the sound of waves crashing and the faint scent of tropical flowers drifting in through the balcony doors. For a blissful motherant, I forgot about the avalanche of calls from last night. Then I rolled over and saw my phone, 20 more missed calls, a handful of voicemails, and several blocked message notifications. I ignored them. Instead, I ordered room service pancakes, fresh mango, and a mimosa that sparkled like sunshine in a glass. I took a picture of the spread and posted it with the caption, "Starting my day stress-free. Hope everyone back home is doing okay." Minutes later, my phone buzzed again. This time it was Jenna. Unlike the others, I didn't block her. She had always been the only cousin with a brain. Her text read, "Okay, I know you're ignoring everyone, but please call me. All. You're going to love this." I hesitated. Fork halfway to my mouth. Jenna wasn't one for drama unless it was worth sharing. Finally, curiosity. 1. I dialed her number. She picked up on the first ring voice, bursting with energy. "Oh my God, Ava." Finally. "Sit down because you're about to die laughing." I laughed, glancing out at the ocean. Jenna. "I'm sitting in a cabana with a mimosa. I think I can handle it." She sucked in a breath, then launched into the story. So after the groom stormed out, Chloe had a complete meltdown. And I don't mean a few tears. I mean full-on screaming, throwing things mascara running down her face. She went ballistic on the wedding party. I nearly choked on my mimosa. That sounds about right. "It gets better," Jenna continued, barely containing her laughter. "Aunt Lisa muttered that none of this would have happened if you had been there to calm things down." Nana overheard and jumped in, saying Chloe had basically cursed her own wedding by cutting you out. Then she told Chloe in front of everyone, "If you treated family better, you wouldn't be standing alone in your wedding dress right now." I burst out laughing so hard I had to set my drink down before I spilled it. The image of Chloe getting lectured by Grandma while her wedding collapsed around her was too perfect. And then Jenna went on her voice, bubbling with amusement. Mother tried calling the groom's parents, begging them to salvage the situation. Guess what his mother said? I wiped tears from my eyes. What she told Mother, "This is your problem now," and hung up. I roared with laughter, the sound echoing off the walls of my suite. "Oh, that's beautiful." Jenna giggled along with me. Anyway, Chloe's still sobbing, still blaming everyone but herself. She swears she can fix it, but honestly, Ava, there's no fixing this. It's done. I leaned back, stretching out in the sun. You know the best part, Mel. When I took a slow sip of my mimosa, savoring the sweetness, "I don't care." Jenna cackled. "God, I love you. You're living every petty person's dream right now. And honestly, you deserve it." We talked for a few more minutes, her filling me in on every delicious detail of the fallout. When I finally hung up, I felt lighter than I had in years. They wanted a wedding without me, and now, thanks to their own choices, they had a disaster instead. I lifted my glass again, toasting the horizon. To karma, I murmured, and this time it wasn't bitter. It was sweet, sparkling, and entirely mine. That evening, I treated myself to a sunset cruise. The yacht glided across the waves as the sky turned molten gold and deep purple, painting the horizon in colors no wedding photographer could ever capture. I leaned against the railing, a glass of champagne in my hand, the wind tugging at my hair. For the first time in years, I wasn't bracing for the next family demand. I was simply free. When the sun dipped below the horizon, the crew served a 5-course meal on deck, perfectly seared scallops, tender filet mignon, and a dessert so rich it felt like silk melting on my tongue. I took a photo of the view with my wine glass raised and captioned it, "Zero regrets." The comments poured in before I'd even finished dessert. Friends were cheering me on, co-workers were jealous, and Jenna replied with, "Iconic, keep it up, queen." I laughed so loudly. The couple at the next table glanced my way. Back in my suite later that night, I made the mistake of glancing at my phone. Dozens of missed calls again. Mother Ethan, even numbers I didn't recognize. One voicemail slipped through from Mother. Her voice was sharp this time, not pleading. "Ava, when you get back, we're having a family meeting. This nonsense has gone far enough." A family meeting. I almost spit out my wine. They excluded me, erased me from the biggest day of Ethan's life, and now they expected me to sit in a circle and hold hands like nothing happened. I typed a reply to Jenna instead. "They really think I'm coming back for a lecture." Hilarious. She responded instantly with a string of laughing emojis. The next morning, I woke to the sound of gulls outside my balcony. I wrapped myself in a robe, ordered espresso and croissants, and ate breakfast with the ocean spread before me. My phone buzzed again. Another urgent text from Ethan. "Ava, please, we can talk about the guest list later, but right now I need you. Don't abandon me like this." I almost laughed out loud. Don't abandon me. That was rich coming from the man who had cut me out without blinking. I set the phone down, stretched my legs, and sipped my espresso. They could plan all the family meetings they wanted. I wasn't showing up to be scolded or guilt-tripped. I had found something better. Peace. As the waves crashed rhythmically below, I whispered to myself, they wanted a wedding without me. Now they can have the aftermath without me too. And with that, I booked a spa appointment, slid my phone back on to do not disturb, and let the day carry me into bliss. By the third morning in paradise, I felt lighter than I had in years. No guilt, no gnawing anxiety in my chest, no endless to-do list of family obligations, just me, the sea breeze, and a hotel robe so soft it felt like a hug. I turned my phone back on out of sheer curiosity, and within seconds the screen lit up like a slot machine. 20 missed calls, dozens of texts, one from Mother. "You need to stop acting like a child and come home. We'll sit down as a family and fix this." Another from Ethan. "Ava, I can't believe you're doing this to me. You're being selfish." And Chloe, the bride, who hadn't even wanted me there. "I'm heartbroken. Do you even care? I laughed so hard I nearly spilled my coffee." Care after they'd erased me from their perfect day, they wanted me to clean up their mess, now the same way I'd always cleaned up after them. Then a final message popped up from Jenna. "Heads up, your mother is organizing a family meeting when you get back. Just thought you should know." I nearly choked on my croissant. A family meeting. As if I just walk back into their arms, let them guilt-trip me and pretend none of this ever happened. Not happening. I typed back to Jenna. "Thanks for the warning, but I won't be there." She responded instantly. "Wait, what do you mean? Me, I'm extending my trip." I could almost picture her face, a mix of shock and amusement. Seconds later, her reply came through. Iconic. "Tell me everything when you're back, whenever that is. LOL." I grinned, pulled up my laptop, and within a few clicks extended my reservation another full week. Another week of silence. Another week of peace. Before heading to the beach, I decided on one final act. I scrolled through my contacts, opened the group chat with Mother Ethan and Chloe, and typed, "Oh, so now you want me around. Sorry, I'm too busy enjoying my overreaction. Have fun cleaning up your own messes." Then with deliberate calm, I blocked them all. Phone down, drink in hand, sun warming my skin. For the first time in my life, I wasn't their fixer, their fallback, their safety net. I was my own priority. That afternoon, I lounged under a cabana with the tropical cocktail waves lapping at the shore just feet away. The chaos of my family felt like another universe, one I'd finally escaped. I raised my glass to the sky, whispering to freedom, to peace, to choosing me. The words lingered in the salty air, carried away by the breeze. And as the sun dipped low, painting the horizon in shades of fire, I knew one thing for certain. I had no guilt, no regrets, no looking back. For the first time in years, I chose.